And welcome again to Cottage Talk Full Time. I'm Russ Coleman. Joining me right now is Emilio Danello, who is outside of Craven Cottage. He just watched Fulham's 3-0 victory against West Bromwich Albion, which extends the lead against WBA, which is good, West Brom. So this is actually a good thing, Emilio. It is the return of the Fulham shadow. I always like saying that. So, Emilio, just give me your opening thoughts on what you watched.
Yeah, still got my breath back after that, especially all the celebrations after the Mitrovic hat trick, and obviously after the game with all the celebrations. I'll send you some videos after, but it's top performance. We had some nervy moments, but overall, this is the third best team in the division. Then there's a problem. This is promotion's there for us to lose. On that performance, I thought we were dominant, strong, pressing throughout the game against a team who are physically very strong.
Right.
They've won ugly this season many times, and something that we're not very good at doing. And to be honest, we put them back in their place. Other than the opening 2 or 3 minutes, we were, I thought, a little bit slow off the mark, but we grew into the game and dominated that first half. Second half, clearly 2-0 down. They're going to have a moment and a period of domination, which they did, and it wasn't pretty from us, but overall, they gave us few problems, to be honest, and we shouldn't be worried. That we're now comfortable in second place. Got players returning back from injury. We got probably Mitrovic is on fire at the moment.
Yeah.
Is just his presence in front of goal, his instincts, his sharpness, his fitness levels is incredible. I've lost adjectives, to describe his performances at the moment. And overall, good performance. Disappointing with Tosin sending off there. I'd like to see that again, but that took.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
That took the gloss off the victory. Someone took that, that gloss off. But overall, 3-0, another clean sheet. What more do we want as Fulham fans? Yeah.
Well, you know what, Emilio, we'll talk about, again, this is just a full-time show, everything that happened quickly, and we'll go for about 20 minutes, but let's just start from the beginning. What were your thoughts about the starting 11?
Good. I think good decisions. I thought, obviously, their physique probably was maybe too risky to play Tom, to be honest. So I think bringing Harrison Reed in there, who's was prudent from the manager. And again, don't risk Tom if there's any doubt there. And playing against, a physical team who not particularly pretty, I think was a good move from Marco Silva.
Right.
And playing Dennis as well, right back as well, with his presence in the air as well.
Dennis did well today.
Yeah, he was close top 3 for me. Very good, another very good game from him. And I love Dennis Adore, and I think most Fulham fans do. But Marco Silva's decision to play him was the right one, to be honest, because we needed his physical presence, his aerial presence as well, against a very, big, strong team like West Bromwich Albion. So overall, comfortable with that starting 11.
Okay, excellent, Emilio. Okay, let's just get right to it. Let's talk about the first half. We'll break down the goals in just a second and the key moments, because, again, we'll talk about the penalty situation. I'll share my thoughts on what I saw. But before that, just give me your analysis of the first half overall.
After that sort of slow start, the first few minutes, where West Brom were looking, were playing long balls, they were already starting to set their dominance on the game. But we quickly took control of the game. We were passing the ball nicely, good swift passing. Cabano, calling him out, extremely lively. I thought Cabano had a very good game again. Again, front of goal. Maybe let's question his ability in scoring in front of goal. But overall, he looked very lively. In that first half, he was all over the place. Winning corners, winning free kicks, looking dangerous. I thought our movement in particular was very, very good. And I think we, going into half time, 2-0 up, I think was deserved. I know there's a bit of controversy on the penalty, and we'll talk about that in a moment. But overall, we were good value for our half time lead. West Brom had little response. There was a moment when they maybe should have done better when it's 1-0. They had a free header when and Rodak wasn't made a comfortable save. Overall, they didn't really pose many problems, to be honest. And this is, like I said, the third best team in the division. That's not saying a lot on that performance today.
Right, Emilio, and I'll just share my thoughts. Listen, Fulham bossed the first half. Yeah. We'll talk about the penalty situation in just a second, but overall, if I look at it, I thought Fulham were worthy of the 2-0 advantage at the half. Were they fortunate? I believe so, and I'll just share with you my view on what I watched. Now, I get replays, and it looked like to me that Bartley got the ball, Mitro goes down. I don't think this is a dive at all, but I think Fulham were fortunate, Emilio. I'll let everyone judge after they've had a look at this. And I'm not trying to take the gloss off of a Fulham victory. I'm just trying to be honest here. I think that Fulham actually I wouldn't call it a gift, but they got a good call go their way. And we're fortunate, Emilio. I don't know what you saw at the ground.
Yeah, for me, it was the other side of the pitch. Stevie Lydiard messaged me straight after the incident and said it was no way a penalty. And obviously Steve, I agree. I take his word for it. He sent me a video replay, which I saw at half time, and clearly, I agree, it wasn't a penalty. But I always, me over the years, some you win, some you lose. These decisions even themselves out over the course of the season. Coventry goal, that shouldn't have been a penalty. These things even themselves out. One goes against us, one goes for us. So I'll take it nonetheless. But let's reflect on the fact: how did we get that penalty? Dennis pressed.
Exactly.
It all started from Dennis Adoy. Persisted, pressed, won the ball, and then we created the opportunity. It gave sometimes it gives the referee a decision to make. If you're not pressing, you're not creating opportunities, you're not being direct and quick on the ball, then you're not going to have a chance of scoring goal. And I think Dennis is, his attacking presence. I think Dennis had a very good game, and I want to call him out because it was him. You could argue semi-assisted that penalty, because without that, intervention there and that pressing, we wouldn't have had a chance to get a controversial penalty.
Okay, excellent. And let's talk about Mitros taking another penalty. And what's interesting about this, I've been watching him a great deal. He's been going to the left. I had a feeling he would go right this time. Yeah. He did. Johnston guessed right, but Mitros' goal was well taken. Thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, exactly. Again, the goalkeeper did guess the right way, and I thought it was almost on the verge of not scoring. I thought the keeper was going to make a save there, but it was a lot, obviously, because of the controversy. Sometimes the striker loses a bit of, I would say, not confidence, but sometimes you want to take the penalty quickly. You've got the ball on the spot, you're ready to take the penalty, and you're waiting for all the sort of the back chat, talk with the refereeing, you're challenging the decision. When you've got the penalty and it's a straightforward penalty and you take it immediately, then you're more likely to score. I think sometimes that sort of 1 minute pause between the decision and taking the penalty might have distracted Mitros. But again, this player's on form at the moment. His confidence is sky high, and he wasn't going to miss today.
Okay, excellent, Emilio. All right, let's then talk about the second goal. And again, if we're Fulham fans, we've seen the other side of this, a team not really responding well and another team taking advantage of it. Listen, you take anything that's given to you.
Yeah.
If someone gives you a goal, you take the goal. Yeah. And to Mitros' credit, he was right on top of it. He took advantage of the situation and scored a second. I don't have any feeling bad about the fact that we got another goal here because, again, if they're going to present it to you, my friend, you take it.
You take it. Exactly.
Thoughts on the situation that led up to Mitros' second goal and his second goal?
The same thing again, wrong side of the pitch for me, but I think it was Seri as well who pressed to force the defender to play the back pass, to be honest. It was all that pressing and pressing and pressing. If you're putting your opposition under pressure, you're forcing them to make mistakes. And that's what, today, at times, we didn't play at our best. We played better this season and maybe not won as comfortably, but it's the pressing. It's making those mistakes. You're putting your opposition under pressure, and they put their back pass. But again, Mitrovic in the right place. He still has to score. Let's be honest, he still has to score. It's not like he's got an open goal there. He still has to get there first, and he has to find the back of the net. So again, player on confidence, 100% fit. He's back to the Mitrovic from 2 seasons ago. And this guy, carry on like this, we're going to storm this division. Seriously.
He is on fire, my friend. He is so dangerous.
Is.
Watching him, and I'm glad that you mentioned this. We've all been talking about his fitness. He looks like he's really increased his fitness. He looks slighter. Yeah. He looks like he's lost weight. He looks very fit. And honestly, it's all coming together this season. He's just proven the fact that last season was, I hate to say it, really not about him. I'll just say that. Yeah. That's just my opinion. Yeah. It was about him really not fitting into a certain system, which is fine. He fits into the system. That's the bottom line. It's all worked. And he leads Fulham at the half to a 2-0 lead. And we go in the second half, Emilio. And, it's funny because you can look at this two ways. And you mentioned this, and then we'll talk about some of the controversial situations coming up. But let's talk about the approach from West Brom. Obviously, at halftime, the manager got to them because they came out strong. You should have expected it. Yeah. I expected it. And there are two ways to look at it. Fulham, again, we're not dominant early on in the second half, but you know what? They defended well. There were some good opportunities from West Brom. They missed their opportunities, did not score. Okay. But Fulham stayed true to themselves and always looked dangerous on the break. That was the one thing that stood out to me, Emilio. If I'm looking at the second half, before we talk about the 2 red cards in the goal, Fulham overall in the second half, if I analyzed it, they saw the match out and they were just waiting for the opportunities. Give credit to West Brom for playing a better second half. But overall, they were just not good enough. And Fulham, again, took advantage of their opportunities on the break, which caused the red card for them. And then, of course, Fulham get the 3rd goal. But let's just give me your overall thoughts on the second half, and then we'll talk about the controversial situations.
Yeah, so at the beginning, it felt like a bit like the QPR game. When we were 1-0 at half time, second half, the QPR came out stronger, and so did West Brom. Obviously, clearly 2-0 down. They've got to sort of start show their presence, and they did what we expected them to do. But our passing was a little bit harried. Again, it was similar with QPR when we conceded that goal, and just sometimes we just need to be a little bit more composed. And some of us were calling out maybe we just needed to make a substitution, just change it a little bit. Maybe bring Josh Onuma in there, maybe take Seri or Reed off, just to add some bit of strength in that midfield. Because I thought we were getting bullied off the ball quite easily. West Brom, let's be honest, are not a pretty team. I'm not seeing much of them this season. I've seen highlights here and there, but they're not pretty to watch. To be honest, they're pretty ugly, and I don't want them anywhere near the Premier League. I don't want another Burnley in the Premier League. To be honest, I don't want to play like that. So, but overall, I think we struggled for that first 15, 20 minutes. Okay. We didn't really sort of, I'd say, impose ourselves. We didn't get much of the ball. We were giving the ball away quite cheaply. We just needed to be a little bit more settled and composed. And thankfully, we rode the storm. And then, obviously, we went on and scored a 3rd goal and closed the game out. But yeah, it's just, that first 20 minutes just goes to show if the game was 0-0, and we had a team like West Brom pressing us and allowing us to give the ball away cheaply, then we've got to watch that. We've got to make sure we've got caught out a few times this season when teams press us, and we give the ball away cheaply, and we don't, and we're just hoofing it at times. And then we weren't pretty, but I think give credit to West Brom. They made it difficult for us in that first.
They did. They absolutely did. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I've been going back and forth with my friend Andy, and I think it's split on their style of play amongst the supporters because it's not pleasing on the eyes at times, but they have some quality players. Let's just say that. And they did make things difficult for Fulham in the second half. But, and again, Fulham really caused what happened here with the Furlong getting the straight red, Emilio. This was totally a straight red. This is, again, I don't think you can question this. This is a straight red, and Fulham are up by a man. Do you feel at this point that game, set, match?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the straight red.
Yeah, and it was literally in front of me. I think there's still a few people around me who was a little uncertain whether it was or wasn't a straight red. As far as my instinct was, instant reaction was, it was a straight red card for me. It was right in front of me. There was contact there, and give Kerry Wilson credit because he controlled the ball well.
Exactly.
Again, he could have miscontrolled that, and then maybe it would have been a different outcome. But ultimately, he controlled the ball well. Defender Furlong forced to make the mistake, and he got a straight red card. I think it. For me, I haven't seen a replay, but my instant reaction was red card for me.
Okay, and I'm just going to share this from Chris Goodwin. No doubt, clear red card. Wilson would have been on goal. And I think that is the consensus on that. And I totally agree with that. It was a red card. Okay, my friend. Let's now talk about the 3rd goal. And again, this is great stuff because it looked like it was going to break down. We're talking about the 3rd goal. I didn't think this was going to come off, but credit to Harry Wilson, credit to the Fulham players, and credit to Mitro because he puts in the back of the net the 3rd. He just shows over and over again why he's his top striker, Mitro. But Emilio, it's not just about him. Like I said, it's also about Harry Wilson. Yeah. So let's talk about the goal that put the match away.
Yeah, just the fact that Wilson chased that ball down. Maybe 2-0 up, comfortable. He chased that ball. It was maybe the slight. It felt that. I need to look at it again. Was it slightly over the line? I don't think the ball was fully over. I think the ball was partially over the line. But I think Steve Lydiard, correct me if you're listening, does the ball have to be fully over the line rather than partially over the line? But either way, to me, it looks slightly over the line. But he cut it back perfectly. And guess who's there? Mitrovic. You give him a sniff of a chance anywhere in that penalty, especially in that 6-yard box. He's in the back of the net. It's just, again, it's what I said earlier. His instinct, his awareness, his confidence, his sharpness. everything, all these adjectives. No one's going to stop him if he carries on like that. We keep presenting opportunities like that to him. More often than not, they're in the back of the net. And to be honest, it's there was a criticism from me is that there's a bit of selfishness in that game. Cabano, who had a great game, went for goal in the second half, missed. If he squared it to Mitrovic would have had his hat trick a lot earlier. Wilson was a bit selfish early with another chance. So again, we're creating a lot of opportunities, but maybe that comes with confidence and arrogance.
Yep.
2-0 up, 3-0 up, you can afford to have a bit of arrogance and take long punts. But sometimes I think we're still not. Maybe our conversion ratio still needs to be a little bit higher because we're creating a hell of a lot of chances. But sometimes our finishing from players outside of Mitrovic isn't as high as it should be. So that's just something to be aware of. If Mitrovic gets an injury or is suspended or whatever reason, then maybe we've got to be aware of where the goals going to come from as frequently as they are at the moment.
I totally agree with that. Okay, I'm just going to share a couple more comments. Chris Davidson says 100% red card. Let's see. Our friend Steve Turner, he was last man. It was a goal scoring chance. Had to be a red by the letter of the law. Again, I'm not going to dispute that at all. But let's talk about the other situation that is going to affect Fulham. And honestly, I watched this back. I think this is a red card. Steve Ledyard can be a better judge of this. I think this is a straight red as well, Emilio. So you probably didn't get a good look at this, but let's just talk about your thoughts on this because this hurts Fulham.
Yeah.
Because Tosin's playing well. What's interesting, I was thinking about this after it happened. I'm like, in years past, I thought this could be really hurtful, but Fulham actually have players that can come in and with an opportunity to take his place for 3 matches. But it's too bad, like you said, it took a little bit of the gloss off of the victory. Tosin's red.
It did, and it's a point before Mitrovic scored his third goal. I was actually disputing whether Tosin deserves to be man of the match. I was actually saying, well, who's actually the man of the match? Mitrovic looking sharp, scored a penalty, scored a good second goal. Striker's instinct there. But Tosin had a fantastic game. And then he had I thought then he had a header on goal, which keeper made a good save. Then Mitrovic scores a third goal and said, "Okay, you can't not give your hat trick player the man of the match." And then Tosin does that. That for me was immaturity. Sorry, I'm pissed off about that. To be honest, you're 3-0 up, no need to challenge there. And it reminds me of the sending off of Anthony Robinson against Chelsea last season. He didn't need to make that challenge last year, and Robinson got sent off at home against Chelsea, if you remember. Similar situation, not in a dangerous position. Tosin, you're 3-0 up, for goodness sake. Why have you made that challenge? So that pisses me off, to be honest. It has taken the gloss off the game, and I'm disappointed in that. These young players. He's had a great game. He's had last 2 or 3 good games. He's grown back into the season. I thought the early part of the season he was sort of a bit mixed. Some good, some sort of average performances, but he's grown in the last few games. We've got some clean sheets. Another clean sheet today, and he's let himself down there. I think that was unnecessary. You can't make those mistakes. These young players, you have to learn from that, and maybe he will learn from this. That's like Robinson did last season against Chelsea. No need to have made that foul, if you recall. So I'm disappointed with that at this point because he was on the verge of being man of the match for me. If it wasn't for Mitrovic's hat-trick. I thought he had a very good game, very strong in defence, and controlled the back line very, very well. So, it was frustrating. It was a bad decision from Tosin. He had no reason to make that foul. Just you're 3-0 up. Now you're going to be banned for the next 3 games. But you mentioned a point earlier, Russ. We've got our players are all back from injury, and that's another positive from today. Carvalho coming back on. Tom Kenny's figured in the last 2 or 3 games. Kenny Tete's on the bench. So, to be honest, either you put Dennis Odoi in central defence and put Tete wide, or you put Bobby Reid wide and put Dennis Odoi in central defence. You bring Hector back. There's options, right? There's let the manager make that decision against Blackburn next week, but unnecessary. It breaks up a very good 4-match winning streak, clean sheets galore, and then Tosin makes a very childish error there. To be honest, and I am calling him out for that because you don't need to do that.
Okay. I also want to share this because I agree with Chris on this. I got a good view on this.
Yeah.
I don't understand why Snodgrass didn't get a red. He just clocked Anthony Robinson across the head.
Yeah.
So, again, we can talk about Tosin, but how about Snodgrass not getting a red?
Yeah, he's always been unlucky. Firstly, he's never been pretty to watch, but the refereeing today was abysmal. Again, I think overall, just some of the decisions that he let go, it's just not good enough. Won't be surprised we see VAR in the Championship in the next couple of seasons, to be honest. It's just the referee I didn't think had a very good game. He didn't really have control of the game.
Yep. This actually started from a comment from Reese Williams. Don't know how Snodgrass stayed on the pitch. Swinging elbow to Anthony's face right in front of the referee.
Yeah.
Again, it was right there.
Absolutely. Point
I
blank.
agree with you.
What else? What was the referee watching there? To be honest,
I don't
ridiculous.
know. I don't know. All right, my friend. Great stuff. To finish up, coming up next, we're going to talk about man of the match. Okay, Emilio, to finish up, let's go to the man of the match. You already talked about Tosin, but it's hard not to give it to Mitro.
Yeah.
After you get another hat trick. Is it Mitro? If
Yeah.
you're watching live, do you agree that it just has to be Mitro? Feel free to share your thoughts on man of the match. I believe Giannis already chimed in with Mitro.
Yeah, I think we have to give it no choice. Just especially the two instincts. Those the predatory Mitrovic in that penalty area. He's dangerous, this man. And I'll send you, like I said, the video when he was sort of celebrating with the match ball after the game. I'll send that to you afterwards. But overall, I think you've got to give it to him. But the other call outs, like I've mentioned, is Tosin up to the sending off. Very good game, very strong game, very good defensively. Dennis Odoi, a couple of nervous moments here and there. But overall, Dennis looked strong, fit, contributed to the penalty. So Dennis is love him to bits, as you know.
Yep.
And Cabano, again, another good game, especially in the first half. Very, very lively, very dangerous. We've got a lot of free kicks and a lot of corners. So they were the three best players for me on the pitch today.
Okay, excellent. Obviously. I'm going to share all the comments, and they're pretty much going to be Mitro. Chris Goodwin, Mitro, the man is on goal-scoring fire. Steve Turner, Mitro. Chris Davidson, Mitro.
Yeah.
Dominic Versace, Cabano. Okay, let's see. Very funny, Steve Lydiard. Yeah, very, very funny. Very.
Should we give it to the referee, Steve, for giving us a penalty? Maybe. Maybe that was a turning point. Who knows? And again, we were dominant. I think we would have won without that controversial penalty in the first half. I don't think that made much difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Davidson comes back and says this, and I'm not going to disagree with him. If Cabano could finish, he could have gotten man of the match. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. And let's go back to the 3-match ban. Steve Lydiard, stupid red for a 3-game ban. Steve, you're right. And again, I just advise take off your Fulham hat, watch it back. It's a red card from Tosin. It just is. I'm just going to call it what it is. Yeah. It's unfortunate. I don't think you can question it once you've watched it. It's pretty bad. And again, I love Tosin, but
you've got to learn.
He's got to learn from this. He can't be doing this.
Like I said, it reminds me of the Robinson one last season against
Yes,
Chelsea.
it's very similar. Very
thing.
Similar. Very similar, my friend. Okay. Listen, great. Thank you so much for joining me, Emilio. Final thoughts before we go.
Look, we're bouncing up. We're up the table. 4 consecutive wins, clean sheets, strikers on form, players returning back from injury. Yes, Tosin's got a 3-match ban. We've got options, though. So I don't think that's going to be as badly missed as it could have been. But overall, we've got nothing to complain about. We're on the up. And, we've distanced ourselves from West Brom. These are the games we need to be winning. The 6-pointers, the teams around us. Distance yourself against those teams. And, carry on like this. And I think the Premier League is inching closer game by game. So, come on, you Whites.
Absolutely, Emilio. And still to play is Parker Ball. We'll see if Fulham can stay within 2 points of Parker Ball.
Yeah.
But that's going to be fun, Emilio, coming up in December when Scott Parker returns. I wish I could fly over for that one. I think that's going to be incredible. But honestly, we should all be happy.
Yeah.
We really should be happy with what's going on with Fulham. They took care of business today. Style points, whatever you think, about the victory, it's about the 3 points. They deserve to win this match. What did they deserve to win it 3-0? I don't know, but you know what? They did. Just like they beat Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest supporters can complain all they want. They lost the match. Same thing here. But I have a lot of respect for West Brom. They're going to be close to us. They just didn't have it today. This is about Fulham. Anyways, well, we're going to wrap this up. For my co-host, the Fulham Shadow, Emilio Danella, I'm Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk.